thinking those weird flickering lights on your screen are just CGI, because some of Hollywood's biggest alien movies might be hiding real documented events. Today, we're ranking alien films based on how close they actually are to real-life UFO cases, from mass sightings to alleged abductions. And here's the twist. The closer we get to number one, the less this feels like science fiction. So the question is, which of these movies is just entertainment and which one feels a little too real? Keep your eyes peeled as we dive right in. Imagine waking up to a global war zone where the enemy isn't even human. This movie is a total high energy blast, but it's sitting at the absolute bottom of our list because it's 99% fiction. It draws a tiny bit of DNA from the 1942 air raid, where California batteries fired over 1,400 shells at mystery lights in the sky. Back then, the coast was paralyzed by invasion jitters just months after Pearl Harbor, and searchlights converged on a silent, hovering object that never even dropped a single bomb. However, the film totally flips the script. It turns a night of jumpy nerves and a possible stray weather balloon into a full-scale tactical invasion. Instead of the historical reality where zero combat occurred and the only casualties were from car accidents and stress-induced heart attacks, we get water-stealing biological soldiers leveling Santa Monica with high-tech lasers. It takes a brief moment of wartime mass hysteria and inflates it into a chaotic, city-crushing firefight engineered completely for the big screen. What if the monsters under your bed actually crashed in from outer space to eat your farm? This cult classic is pure 80s madness, centering on fuzzy rolling carnivores terrorizing a rural family. Now, get this. The bones of the story pull from the 1955 Kelly Hopkinsville encounter, where the Sutton family claimed small, glowing, silver-headed beings besieged their farmhouse for nearly 4 hours. In that real report, the family actually engaged in a wild shootout with these metallic gremlins that seemed to float or bounce off the trees when hit. Unsurprisingly, Hollywood took that terrifying night and gave it a major facelift by turning the silent, spindly beings into chatty, hungry porcupines with a serious taste for earthly meat. While the actual witnesses described creatures with huge ears and glowing eyes that were immune to bullets, the movie dreamed up everything else, like the bounty hunting subplot and the shape-shifting protectors. It's a wild ride that swaps the eerie physics of a famous Kentucky case for a comedic creature feature that we all still love. If you're a sci-fi movie nerd that loves this kind of deep dive, then smash that subscribe button. We post rankings like this every week.
October 2000. Every scene in this movie is supported by archive footage, some of what you're about to see.
There is nothing scarier than being told the footage you are watching is actually real. This movie centers on a series of mysterious disappearances in Nome, Alaska, using a mock documentary style to totally blur the lines of reality. It leans into the genuine tragic history of people vanishing in that region over the last few decades. But here's the kicker. While the real-world disappearances were heavily investigated by the FBI, they were officially attributed to the brutal Alaskan climate and issues with alcohol rather than owls watching from the windows. The film took those cold cases and conjured up a massive ancient alien conspiracy, even casting actors to play real people in faked archive sessions to manipulate your sense of dread. By creating the idea that the original tapes showed levitation and Sumerian-speaking entities, the movie provides a supernatural explanation for an unsettling human tragedy. It's a brilliant piece of deceitful marketing that turns a sad terrestrial mystery into a terrifying cosmic abduction story that the authorities completely deny. Love seeing how the real world stacks up against movies? Then you've got to check out our ranking of the top 10 best modern sci-fi movies after this. I'll leave a link for you at the end of this video. Some lights in the sky are meant to be seen, but some secrets are meant to stay buried. This found footage thriller focuses on three teenagers who vanish while investigating the 1997 Phoenix lights. The backdrop here is entirely authentic, as thousands of witnesses, including the governor of Arizona, actually saw a massive V-shaped craft gliding silently over the city. It remains one of the most documented mass sightings in history, but the film's specific plot is where the fiction takes over. The entire story of the missing kids and the recovered camera footage is a clever creation that gives the mystery more personal, terrifying stakes. While the real event ended with a military explanation involving flares that many people still don't buy, the movie built a narrative where the craft actually snatched up local teen investigators in the desert. It blends the genuine awe of a million people seeing a UFO with a totally scripted Blair Witch-style tragedy to keep you checking the horizon for those lights. Mathematics is the universal language, but can it prove we aren't alone? The grounded drama follows a college student obsessed with deciphering a strange signal after a sighting at a major airport. It finds its footing in the 2006 O'Hare International Airport incident, where pilots and ramp workers reported a metallic saucer-shaped craft hovering over gate C-17 before punching a hole through the clouds. The real-world witnesses were incredibly credible professionals, yet the FAA officially dismissed it as a weather phenomenon. The movie even dives deep into the bureaucratic mess and the complex physics involved in tracking such objects, mirroring the frustration of the actual witnesses. However, the film cooked up the protagonist's specific journey of decoding advanced alien math to predict the UFO's arrival. While the real event was a fleeting 15-minute mystery that left the aviation community baffled, the movie expands it into a high-stakes intellectual thriller involving secret government agents and a race to prove a mathematical certainty before the evidence vanishes. Seriously, guys, the O'Hare case was witnessed by actual pro-pilots, and the government just dismissed it by calling it a cloud. So, what do you think? Are they hiding the truth? Or was this just a massive hallucination? Get in the comments right now and tell me your theories. Sometimes the most terrifying sounds are the ones we hear over the radio in the dead of night. This stylish movie captures two teens in the 50s discovering a frequency that shouldn't exist. It pulses with the energy of the 1965 Kecksburg incident, where an unusual metallic acorn-shaped object supposedly crashed in the Pennsylvanian woods. The film nails the period-accurate paranoia and the specific descriptions of clanking mechanical noises reported by real-life listeners during weird signal interruptions back then. While the movie uses these historical vibes to build tension, it develops a specific audio mystery that the characters follow through their small town. The real Kecksburg event involved the military quickly hauling away a mystery object on a flatbed truck, but the movie crafted a more intimate, eerie journey involving a hidden history of disappearances and secret radio transmissions. It's a perfect blend of genuine mid-century UFO lore and a scripted atmospheric chase through a town that time and the authorities forgot to tell us about. If you want to know what it truly feels like to be watched by the unknown, this is the top spot. Christopher Walken delivers a haunting performance as Whitley Strieber, a man trying to process the strange visitors appearing in his bedroom. The movie is based directly on Strieber's own detailed journals and his best-selling nonfiction book, avoiding the typical action horror tropes to focus on the confusing, nonlinear, and often absurd nature of the actual abduction experience. Now, whether or not Strieber's experiences were legit, the movie still brilliantly replicates the screen memories and the strange, disjointed feeling of time that real-life claimants often describe in their reports. While it uses some visual effects to represent the entities, it stays incredibly close to the psychological reality reported by Strieber himself, as unconvincing as they may sound. The movie didn't need to generate a war or a chase, it just documented the eerie, quiet, and deeply personal intrusion of something other into a normal life, making it one of the most faithful adaptations of the phenomenon ever caught on film. What if a movie wasn't just entertainment, but a secret manual for first contact? This Spielberg classic is legendary, but its heart is pure research. It was heavily influenced by the work of Dr. J. Allen Hynek, the lead scientist for the Air Force's Project Blue Book, who actually served as a technical consultant on the set. The way the ships move and the specific levels of contact were pulled directly from real government files and witness testimonies. Even the iconic five-note musical sequence reflects the real-world theories about using light and sound as a universal bridge. To make it a Hollywood spectacle, the film added the dramatic mountaintop finale and the specific character of Roy Neary being called to the site. While the real cases were often isolated and fleeting, the movie constructed a grand, unified government project to welcome the aliens. And this is exactly why Spielberg's upcoming Disclosure Day matters. Because Close Encounters wasn't just another alien movie, it helped define how audiences imagine first contact. Lights in the sky, government secrecy, ordinary people pulled into something bigger than themselves. So if Disclosure Day is Spielberg returning to UFO territory, the real question is not just whether aliens show up. Some people see strange lights in the sky, but Travis Walton saw the literal inside of the ship. This movie tells the harrowing story of a logging crew in 1975 who witnessed their friend being blasted by a beam of light in the Arizona woods. The first half is an incredibly accurate recreation of the crew's experience, including the polygraph test they passed and the intense police suspicion they faced. It captures the genuine terror of the men who were accused of murder while their friend was missing for 5 days. However, the film took a massive creative leap with the actual abduction sequence. The real Travis Walton described a clean, clinical environment with human-like beings in blue suits, but the studio thought that was way too boring for audiences. So they originated the iconic slime-filled alien factory with rotting pods and terrifying bug-eyed monsters to maximize the horror. It's a brutal mix of a rock-solid documented human mystery and a nightmare-fueled Hollywood special effects extravaganza. The desert holds many secrets, but none are more famous than what supposedly crashed in 1947. This film takes a deep investigative look at the Roswell incident through the eyes of the man who first handled the debris. It stays remarkably true to the original testimony of Jesse Marcel, including the descriptions of memory metal foil and strange I-beams with purple writing on them. It captures the bizarre flip-flop of the official press release that first claimed they captured a flying disc before quickly changing the story to a weather balloon. Sounds familiar, right? The movie leans heavily on the historical timeline of the cleanup and the intimidation of local witnesses that were documented by researchers decades later. For dramatic flair, it imagines certain composite characters and specific scenes, like the alien autopsies, to help visualize the rumors that have circulated in the UFO community for years. It's the most faithful dramatization of the event that birthed modern ufology, focusing on the human cost of keeping the world's biggest secret from the public. And there you have it. Whether it's a government cover-up or a nightmare that felt too real to ignore, Hollywood is clearly obsessed with extraterrestrial beings from outer space. And that brings us back to Spielberg decades after Close Encounters turned UFO research into one of cinema's most iconic first contact stories. Disclosure Day is bringing him back to the same question. What if the biggest alien story isn't the invasion, but the reveal? It hits theaters June 12th, and if Spielberg is really circling this subject again, that alone makes it one of the most interesting sci-fi releases to watch. Is this just another blockbuster or the final piece of the Disclosure puzzle? Guess we'll just have to find out. If you enjoyed this, check out our ranking of the top 10 best modern sci-fi movies. See you there.